We are in the middle of the sugya of Don Lekavschus in our Ben Adam Lechaverei series, which I'm very excited about. I'm assuming until now, everybody, at least last week, discussed and thought about some of the things that we had discussed, which was, number one, the idea Ben Adam Lechaverei, how important it is, how choshev it is for our lives and for everybody that we interact and live with. And number two, specifically, we started the idea of Don Lekavschus, and then the reason we started Don Lekavschus was because it is something, as I mentioned at the time, that is, it's like the foundation. It's the source of many of the other halachas that we do. For example, Lashon Hara. If you remember, we said last time, the reason why we're picking Don Lekavschus to be the first part of this series, apart from the introduction, was because often, if we learn to look at other people with a positive eye, right, in the way of positivity, then often what comes after that is we don't speak Lashon Hara about them, we like them, we'll do chesed with them, v'chole, right? Some of the things and advantages that we had already mentioned. Are you with me? Okay, so let's move on. Last time, which was on Thursday, we quoted some beautiful Gemaras and Chazal about the idea of Don Lekavschus and how it affects our lives. And we said, and we'll just mention this and we'll continue, as just for a means of Chazara, that if a person wants the Ribbono Shel Olam to judge him favorably, as generally what happens, okay, we all want the Ribbono Shel Olam to judge us favorably in all of what we do. So therefore, we have to learn to judge other people favorably, right? The Ribbono Shel Olam works midah keneged midah, okay? The way we act is often the way the Ribbono Shel Olam acts. What's that?
He really knows what happened.
That doesn't make a difference. He will judge us favorably, okay? In other words, when we do something, Hashem will say, he didn't really mean it, or he's having a hard day. Right, but that's not, it's irrelevant. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give us the benefit of the doubt, but he looks to see if we do that to others. Rabbi Sai, please, okay? Important subject today. I want to go through some of the halachas. How does it work? Somebody asked last time, does being Don Lekavschus mean that I have to basically be naive? Like, in other words, if I see a guy going on whichever bus it is takes you to town, oh, he's probably going to pick up a package. Does it mean I have to be naive? The answer is no, but it does mean you have to use a bit of imagination, plus you have to know the halachas that we're discussing today. Okay, it's very important to know the halachas we're discussing today, to know Don Lekavschus, okay? So the Torah begins, Vayikra Perek Yutes Posuk Tes Vav. Lo yisasu ovel b'mishpat, lo yisisa pnei dol, v'lo yisehada pnei gadol b'tzedek tishboit amisecha. Pasuk in the Torah, by the way. We're not dealing with the Durabonon, not that a Durabonon is any lighter, and not we're dealing with a Mishnah Pirkei Avos, not that that makes it any lighter either. But we're dealing with a simple pasuk in the Torah. The Torah tells you, the Torah says, the Torah says many things that we do. Don't eat chametz on Pesach, sit in a sukkah, dalet minim, all these things. The Torah also says to judge people favorably, right? Literal translation with that, by the way, is, with righteousness must you judge your fellow. And therefore it's important for a person to understand, what does it mean with righteousness do you judge your fellow? Exactly how does this work, okay? So let me give you an idea over here. The Gemara in Shavuos Daf Lamed Amud Beis goes through a little bit of the sugya to understand the definition of Don Lekavschus. How far does it go? How careful do we have to be, and how do we define the terms? Tanu Rabbanon b'tzedek tishbei amisecha, says the Gemara in Shavuos Daf Lamed Aleph Lamed Amud Aleph, quoting the pasuk we just said, b'tzedek tishbei amisecha, shlo yeh echad yoshev ve'echad oimed, echad medaber kol tzorka ve'echad oimed loy kitzed dvarecha. Okay, dova acher b'tzedek tishbei amisecha havi don es chaveiroi lekavschus. Okay, to judge other people favorably. Now, I want to tell you a very, very important Gemara. Okay, first of all, before we mention this Gemara, I want to mention to a Rambam. Okay, this is a Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva. For those of you that were with us in Elul and remembered when we did the Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva, which was very beautiful, we probably mentioned this Rambam, but it's a very important Rambam. The Rambam seems to say by a few things. You've heard it Sunday nights, by the way, by the Shovim Shurim as well, but it's a similar idea, and there's a reason for that. Says the Rambam, okay, it's in Hilchos Tshuva, Perek Daled, Halacha Daled. I'll quote you the Lashon of the Rambam, and then we'll look at and we'll try to translate it. V'hachoyshet b'ksherim oimer b'liboy she'ena choyta, lefi she'oimer mashal sisalai. V'u'enu yodeh shezeh ovoin, she'masam odem kosher, b'daitoi kebal aveira. Basically what the Rambam is telling us, and I'm not going to exactly translate, but roughly, is that when a person is not don lekav schos, when a person judges other people in a non-favorable way, it's a very hard aveira to do tshuva. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean it's hard to do tshuva? No. What the Rambam means when he says that is that people don't do tshuva. Why? Because they think, what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do? Oh, I just thought in my head that he's going to town to do some aveiros. I did something wrong? No. What did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. Just do me a favor. Just come sit over there. Just to make it. It says the Rambam that when a person is not don lekav schus, what happens is that he doesn't do tshuva for that aveira, and it's a very bad aveira. But he doesn't do tshuva because he doesn't think he did anything wrong. What did I do? I didn't realize I did anything. I didn't speak lashon hara about him. I didn't cause any harm to him, did I? I simply thought something bad about him. When really and truly we know that being not don lekav schus will often cause a chain reaction of many different aveiros that can come afterwards. Okay? So, the Gemara in Brachos Daf Lamed Aleph tells us, HaChoshit Sorach Levarcha. That means that if you accuse someone falsely, he has the koyach of bracha, which is an amazing thing. Okay, so there's a lot of advantages to a person that's don lekav schus.
Maybe I should judge them in that favor and get a bracha.
That's automatically an aveira. You don't want to get into an aveira for that reason. Now, Rabbi said, let's go through some of the halachas, okay? Very important to go through some of the halachas to understand what exactly are we dealing with over here, what are the parameters, how does it work? You see a guy actually doing an aveira. He's actually doing an aveira. Do I have to dan him lekav schos? How does that work? And how far do I have to take this, okay? So I want to start with a beautiful Gemara in Shabbos. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the Gemara. It's Gemara in Shabbos, Kuf Chav Zayin on the base, where the Gemara goes to a beautiful story. And many people will know this story, but this story is basically a little bit of our introduction to some of the halachas that I want to discuss of don lekav schos. Okay? Listen to this story about the Heilige Rebbe Kiva. Okay? A story about the Heilige Rebbe Kiva. He worked for 7 years. He worked for 7 years for somebody, and on Erev Yom Kippur, he wanted to go home. He wanted to go home to visit his family, take his money to the family, give them parnasa, see the kids, So Erev Yom Kippur, he comes to his boss, he said, listen, I've been working for you for 7 years. That's a decent amount of time. I'm a long-term worker. I'm a very good employee. Come on. I want my money so that I can go back to my family, spend some time Yontov there, whatever it is, give them the money that I've worked for, that they've been waiting for, and I would like to, and obviously I'll come back, whatever. So can I please have the money? So the boss said, I'm really sorry. I don't have any money for you. So he's like, okay. So could you give me some, you grow in your field, apples, oranges, bananas, all sorts of things, tomatoes, cucumbers, whatever. Give me all of this stuff that's worth my wages. I'll bring that back with me. I guess I'll sell it and I'll take some to my family and at least give me the worth of my wages in food. Give it to me in grain, give it to me in whatever you produce, right? So he said, I don't have any. This guy, could you give me some land? Maybe give me a property, give me a land, give me a piece of something that's worth my money. So he's like, I don't have any. Okay, could you give me some animals? So you have chickens, you have some goats and cows and stuff. I'll load them onto my wagon. I'll take that. It's worth something. It's worth some money. Can I have some animals, please? So he says, don't have any. Sorry. So he's like, oh, okay. Could you give me some pillows and blankets? Can you give me something in the house worth some money in order that I can, take it home and give my kids? I've been working for 7 years for you. So he says, I'm really sorry. I don't have any. So he said, okay. He took his stuff, he took his belongings, and he went home. Okay? And this was Erev Yom Kippur. He got home for Yom Kippur. After Sukkot, the Gemara tells us, all of a sudden there's a knock on the door. And the knock on the door is from the owner, his original boss, his previous boss. And this boss is come not by himself, he's come with 3 huge wagons. And in these wagons is all sorts of everything that he possibly needs, of food and money and everything that he needed, right? And he said, here's your wages. So he said to him, they sat down for a coffee, and his previous boss said to Rabbi Kiva, I want to ask you a question. Do you remember when you were in my house and you asked me for the wages, and you said, have you got any money? And I said, I don't have any money. What was your thought process? What was going on in your mind when I said, I don't have any money to pay you? So Rabbi Kiva said, well, I assume that you probably had a business deal and you invested a lot of money into the business deal. And because of that, you had no liquid cash to give me. So I understood that. He said, okay, when I told you that I don't have any, produce and food and everything else and animals, he said, I thought you probably rented it out or you probably sold everything previously and now you don't have. He said, what if you asked for property and I said, I don't have any property for you. What did you think then? He said, maybe you gave it all the way to Hekdesh. And what about all about produce, apples and oranges? You see what I've got? He said, yeah, you probably didn't give Maisa yet. For every single thing that he asked the owner, that the owner said, I don't have, there was an excuse. And he asked, and Rabbi Kiva answered, I thought of a reason. And the boss said to him, you are right. That's exactly what happened. Now I got my money back. Here's your wages. The Gemara is telling us a very powerful story. Now, I'm not saying we're on the level of Rabbi Kiva, that we work for someone for 7 years, that we could say when our boss says, I'm really sorry, I don't have any money for you. Oh, he's probably got it tied up in a business deal. I'll go home now. It's not like he made a deal, he'll give it to me later. He left because he understood that there's always a good reason for something. And B'tzedek Tishbet Amasecha means to start looking at other people and judging them correctly. And the truth is we make judgments all the time. We don't even realize it, by the way. How many times during our day we make real judgments and we judge our roommates, our chavusas, our Bein, we make our family members, our bus drivers. We make judgments the whole time. We don't even express it sometimes. We don't say it. But we often judge people. And we have to learn, this Gemara is teaching us, Shabbos Kuf Chav Zayin, Gewaldige Gemara, how Rabbi Kiva learned to judge people favorably. Okay? Rabbi Sai, let's go through some of the halachas. Okay? When do you have to judge someone favorably? And is there ever a time that you don't have to judge someone favorably and you're allowed to judge them in a negative way? Okay, so listen to this, Rabbi Sai. Let's go through some of the rules. There are 3 categories of people. Category number 1 is a tzaddik, okay? A tzaddik basically means, not necessarily, Avada tzaddik also means the God Lador, and it means tzaddikim and rebbes and beseda. But I'm talking about in the regular people that we encounter, we can have someone that fits into the category of a tzaddik. And that is someone that's very careful not to do averas. He's a person, specifically in this avera, whatever it is, he's very, very careful not to do averas. Let's take a simple and easy example. Most, if not all, from Yidden are careful not to eat chaza. I think that's a pretty good statement to say that most from Yidden do not eat chaza, and they're quite careful not to eat chaza. Okay? Now, therefore, what would happen if you see a from Yid, and you know that he's an Orthodox from Yid, going and eating a piece of chaza? Right? He goes to the supermarket, they sell chaza in these plastic things, he rips it open and eat protein, and he starts taking it and eating it, right? What would you say? Oh, look at this guy. How can he do that? The answer is he's a tzaddik. Klapi this maybe he's a tzaddik. Why? He's a from Yid. He keeps kosher. I'm not talking about a dodgy hechsher that he didn't check out the restaurant before he's sitting there. He's like, oh, you think this place is kosher? I'm not talking about that. Oh, Rebbe, I didn't know there were some people eating in there, or there's Hebrew writing on the sign. It must be kosher. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about straight up, clear cut, real chaza, treif, gomo. What's the din? You see the guy eating there? Like Asher said, 100% he has a medical condition, he has to eat right now. Okay? Why? Why'd you do that? He's eating pig! Why are you judging favorably? The answer is, because he's a tzaddik. And anyone that's a tzaddik, for sure, klapi this avera, if you see him doing something wrong, you have an obligation, a chiyuv d'oraisa, just like there's a chiyuv d'oraisa to put on tefillin and to eat matzah on Pesach and to shake a lulav on the first day of Sukkot, there's a chiyuv d'oraisa to judge this person favorably. Are you with me?
Is that guy able to enjoy it?
That's a whole different shayla. He's allowed to enjoy it. It's irrelevant to our sugya.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone
Let me go through the categories and then we'll take questions. Okay. Let me go through the categories. I want to make this very clear. Okay? So number one is a tzaddik. A tzaddik is someone that this avera is 100% clean and he's good. Okay? Let's move on to category number two. Elimelech, are you with me? Okay. Category number two is a Rasha. Okay? A Rasha means someone that absolutely does not care about this avera. Okay? He is a person that you know for sure, firsthand, 100%, he has absolutely no care in the world about this particular avera. Now, you see him doing the avera. What is the din? The din is that you can assume he's doing something wrong. You do not have to dun him the kafschus because you know, and knowing over him means firsthand in a real way, that he is a Rasha klabed this avera, and therefore there is no shaila whatsoever. So, for example, let's take a simple example that will make things very, very simple. I don't want to make things complicated. You have a neighbor in America, your next door neighbor, who is a Yid, who unfortunately is not religious. And not only is he not religious, he used to be religious, he knows what religious is all about, and he threw it all away, and he's lahachis, he's angry, he does it dafkad and spite, whatever. Okay? You see this guy driving on Shabbos, you see him every Shabbos, but this Shabbos you see him. Are you meant to say, oh, he's having a tough day, or oh, maybe he doesn't know that driving is also, no. You are allowed to judge him in a non-favorable manner. You don't have to say lashon hara about him, you don't have to get involved, but you don't have to say, ooh, he's probably doing the right thing, he's probably taking Hatzalah call. Maybe this morning he joined Hatzalah, and therefore he's on Hatzalah, and that's why he's driving on Shabbos. No. You could say, he is being Mechal Shabbos, he's doing the wrong thing. Someone that you know clearly, firsthand, 100%, is he bal avera? For this avera, doesn't care about it b'chlal. He's considered to be a rasha klapi this, and therefore you do not have to judge him favorably because you know clearly they're doing the wrong thing, that he knows is the wrong thing, and there's no reason to judge him favorably. Let me just do the middle category. I know we've got a lot of questions coming up, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. First of all, you don't need to judge him. I'm saying you don't have to judge him. But if you do, you're allowed to assume that he's doing in other words, the Torah is not asking us to be naive. The Torah is not asking us to just ignore the fact that you have a guy who's next door to you, Machal Shabbos, and say, well, he's probably not Tzala taking someone to the hospital. You don't have to be an idiot. You have to be normal also, right? That's what's going on over here. And there's another reason, by the way. There's another reason as well. And that is, sometimes, if you would judge him favorably, you will never correct yourself from doing anything wrong. You know, if you're never recognizing that anyone does anything wrong, that will never stop you from doing anything wrong. Sometimes you have to recognize, yes, there are people, unfortunately, they do the wrong thing. Let's move on. Category number 3, Rabbi Say, and this is where it gets complicated. Okay? Is anyone with me? I know we're going a little bit longer than normal, but just bear with me, Rabbi Say. Okay? We're going for the Beinani, the middle person. We're going to end over here, and then we'll take some questions afterwards. The Beinani is a guy that tries to be careful